Hey guys, what's up? It's Adam here, aka Ticina Guy. Thank God the Chucky franchise is over. Finished reviewing all them now. Like I say, in the Child's Play franchise, you had your good ones and then you had your bad ones. But I still haven't seen the remake of Child's Play yet. And when I do, that'll be a review for another day. But now I'm taking a new direction, horror movies now. I don't know which franchise is going to come next. Only time will tell. And it'll all happen in good time as well. Now, I'm going back to the films which I particularly enjoy. Now, you can tell by the readings of this, it's Camp Blood 1999. Some people may have never heard of that movie. Well, you're not missing much, because it's a very low budget movie, and it's got to be a piss take. Got to be. There's no way in anyone's right mind that they could take this movie fucking seriously. No fucking way. If anything, this is like a Friday the 13th rip-off. It's one of those movies that any horror fan could have made in the woods with a digital camera, an old-fashioned one back in the day, and then edited all the scary stuff they did in the woods on a homemade scary movie Windows editing software. Seriously, I'm not really joking. It's this movie right here, Camp Blood, that came in the year of 1999. I think, now, the first time I bought this DVD, it was on eBay, and it was like about £1.50. You know, and it said it was a low budget movie, but you know my taste in low budget horror movies. I don't judge things by the quality. I don't judge movies by how much money they made. If it's watchable, and you can sit down and watch it for whatever reason and get some sort of kick out of it, depending on what that kick is, whether it's when you enjoy a movie or you love to watch it because of how dumb it is, or it's a guilty pleasure movie. You know, every movie there's a movie out there for everyone's taste. But this one's interesting. This Camp Blood. It's definitely a piss take movie. You can't take this movie seriously. I mean, it's a movie directed by Brad Sykes, produced by David S. Serling. It was also written by Brad Sykes as well. Now, I don't know what the hell Brad Sykes was thinking if fans should take this movie seriously or not, because it's unbelievably bad. The fucking the effects in this movie, not to mention the acting. There's certain scenes in this movie where you can't just take certain points of the acting seriously either. I mean, it's your typical killer slasher movie. You know, the murderer dressed in a whatever costume, wearing a mask, coming at you with a knife. You know, you got Ghostface. You know, you got your Jason Voorhees. You got your Michael Myers. Your typical horror people. You know, wearing masks. But this one, I don't know if it was meant to be a parody or what, but it was definitely a Friday the 13th rip-off. Look at the concept, right? It opens up with this guide, and she ends up getting attacked by this guy in a boiler suit with a clown mask. Okay, then two hunters come across her body as she's lying there in a bloody mess in the woods, and then one of them gets the head cut off, and I swear, when the head gets cut off, the blood just goes orange. And the head's like floating away like in this water. And it was definitely like a plastic prop. You could tell just by looking at it, it was like badly moulded made. It was like a bad prop. Just floating away in the fucking water. But anyway, the killer kills every survivor in the fucking woods. So, they said 3D glasses was like more of a suitable viewing for this movie. But you got blood, which is orange. The blood looks orange, I'm not fucking kidding. Because when I first got this movie for £1.50 off eBay, I said to myself, this is a poor copy. So what I did, I gave it away to a charity shop, and I rebought it again. You know, for £1.50 off eBay, because I thought the quality in this was, I thought it was a scratch disc, or it was poorly made. So I got rid of the movie, and then I bought the movie again, hoping that the quality would be better. Boy, was I fucking wrong. It was still the same. It was still badly acted. It was still, you know, dark, the grainy looking atmosphere. Orangey, shadowy like. Fucking hell, it was fucking awful. Obviously, the cameras that we've got today would have made better quality movies than they did in this movie. But, do I like this movie? To some extent. I don't adore this movie, and it's definitely not a movie that you can call up there with all the other horror icons. Definitely not. It's got to be a piss take. A piss take of Friday the 13th, if that's my biggest guess. because the film skips forward to these four people. Simple concept that any one film could have made. You know, we got these four people who are going on their way to Camp Blood. There's a hitchhiker on the way, this guy, and again, if you're supposed to take his acting seriously, I have no idea. He's got this high-pitched voice. You don't want to go to Camp Blood! You know, who talks like that? Unless you're an army sergeant or whatever. But this guy is like telling him, you don't want to go to Camp Blood because there's something in the woods. It's not a ghost, it's a man, a clown. And to tell you the truth, it's not much of a clown. It's just somebody in a boiler suit with a cheap clown mask. That's all it is. It's not like as if you can't exactly call it a clown when it's just wearing a cheap clown mask and a boiler suit. You know what I fucking mean? Not much of a clown, is it? So, anyway, the four campers go ahead ignoring this guy's warning. They go to Camp Blood where they meet up with their guide called Harris, who's a butch lesbian. You know, they set up camp, they get up to their own camping trips, like making campfires and, you know, swinging from trees, doing all this kind of shit, and all this. And it goes in a typical direction where they're sitting around the campfire. Harris tells a story about the murders of this guy, this person dressed as a clown, those clown murders that took place in the woods, and it's all based on true events. You know. And after a night of these campers shagging one another and all that kind of shit, they wake up next morning and realise that their tour guide Harris has disappeared. You know? And the leading character in the role, what was her name now? Teresa, I believe. Teresa, who's played by... Teresa Young, played by Jennifer Richkoff. Never fucking heard of her. She never is that... None of these characters even have their own Wikipedia pages. But anyway, she's like, why didn't we listen? Why didn't we do what Harry says? And they're on one big church, you know, one big mission to try and find their tour guide who's lost because they're stuck in the woods. You know, and one by one they're stuck by this person in a boiler suit who's wearing a clown mask with a machete. You know, and the thing that goes through your mind is this movie trying to convince you that this is like a murder mystery type of movie? You know, there's only one person who this killer can be. Harris, the guide, because this film doesn't introduce many characters, you know, and she's the only person who's missing from the group. So it's clearly obvious who the killer is. It doesn't take a rocket science memory, you know, to know who this killer is. There's a chase scene in the rocks and in the ruins in the lake where the clown's like attacking this guy. He gets the machete in the arm. You know, and the way it's done is fucking unreal. I mean, you can see it's like the knife is plastic and it's like cut in half. They've got one half sticking out of his other side of his arm while the other one's cutting into his skin. Then he gets it into the skull. He's like holding on to he's like holding on to the machete while it's in his head. And you're like, who fucking dies that way? Really? So, for a piss-taking movie, it's pretty something, you know. Never in the right mind will you be able to convince me it's one of those serious horror movies. Definitely not. And even the scene where that guy is like laughing hysterically in front of the clown, he just stands there laughing at the clown when the clown confronts him in the woods. He reaches out with both hands. He like twists his head, snapping his neck, but the guy was just standing there laughing, you know, and allowing the killer to touch him and fucking twist his head. He literally stood there and let him kill him. I'm not kidding. This movie is unreal. It's unreal. But did I hate it? No, because it's one of those movies you can't help but like because of how ridiculous this is. I mean, if you're having a bad day at work, or you've just got into an argument with the missus, whatever, and you need cheering up, Camp Blood is one of those guilty pleasure movies that you can watch just due to how it's shitty nature, shitty piss-taking comedy. You know, I've got to say, one of the best moments of this was towards the end, where Teresa, who was one of the main survivors, you know, she's towards the end, and again, you got the blood effects, which is all orange still. You see a dummy get hit by a car, who's supposed to be the person dressed in the clown costume. You can tell it's a dummy the way it goes over the bonnet and then under the wheels. The mask flies off the murderer, and it's revealed to be Harris. What a fucking shocker. Harris is the killer, you know what I mean? But still turns out to be alive, chasing Trisha down the highway. You know, she manages to get in a car, and the clown is in the car with her, and just towards the end of the movie, she wakes up in this mental asylum, and they couldn't even get different actors to play the doctors or the nurses, because the doctors and the nurses, if you look closely in this movie, at this scene where Trish is being treated by the doctors and the nurses in the mental asylum, they're the exact same actors as the people who got killed in the woods. So you mean to tell me they could not find any actors just to play that small little role in that part of the movie? Are they really that low on the budget? You know, they got the victims to play the doctors too. And then Trisha screams because she hallucinates about the clown coming into the fucking room with her. And then the credits roll. So overall, it's an unreal movie. Fucking unbelievable. Fucking unbelievable on so many levels. You know, how the fuck can we get convinced that this killer clown is supposed to be something serious? You know, similar to Friday the 13th, but fan-made, if you ask me. But it's not fan-made. It's supposed to be a straight-up serious movie, but it's laughable along the way. It's one big laughable adventure, especially for a low-budget horror movie. Camp Blood, you know, you either hate it or you love it. I love it because of how dumb it is. I love me low-budget horror movies because they always cheer me up after a bad day. So, or if you feel like going out on a night on the town before getting pissed, you get pissed, or you're on something, you're high. This is one of them good movies to watch. You know, you'll be blown away. I mean, I believe this movie's on YouTube. Check out the trailer, because as soon as you've seen the trailer, you've seen the whole movie already. You know, the trailer actually gives away the whole movie all in like a matter of 5 minutes. So, the simple concept: campers going in the woods, chased by a killer, but not much of a killer, just someone in a boiler suit wearing a clown mask. And this killer want people off one by one. And they keep making sequels to this as well. I'll get to Camp Blood 2 in my next review, but Camp Blood, it's one hell of a ride. Trust me, it's one hell of a ride, and there's not much to say about this movie. I mean, I can't tell you much about the characters because none of them have got like their own Wikipedia pages. I mean, although this movie came out in 1999, its official release date was April 4th of 2000 in the United States. Music by Ghost. Brad Sykes, I don't know what the hell he was thinking, but if he thought this movie was going to be a success, I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. Even according to critics, Camp Blood was obviously made by fans who wanted to do their own version of Friday the 13th. They've even said that. I believe this movie had like 4 or 5 sequels, I believe. You know, it's so fucking unreal. But anyway, there's not much more to say about Camp Blood other than it's one hell of a ride, but a really shitty one, but fun at the same time. I recommend you check this out if you're a fan of low-budget movies that like to put a smile on your face. You know, it's not your typical Friday the 13th movie, but it's like a fan-made piss take of Friday the 13th, and with all that cheesy music thrown in with it, cheap kills, poorly acting, you know, the fake screams, the orange blood. It's all put together in one movie, and it's crazy. It's fucking crazy. Please like, rate, and comment this, everyone, and just email me if you've got any questions. But Camp Blood, you either love it or you hate it. But again, I'll forever own this. It's one movie I can't get tired of if I'm having a bad day. Check it out, everyone. That's all I've got to say. Stay tuned for the next sequel. Peace.